You know what I used to think clarity was? Being blunt, direct, say whatever came to my mind, which I usually did. I generally thought that if I just said the hard things, straight out, no filter, that meant I was clear, that everybody understood me, that I had it together, that I knew myself. Well, I can tell you this much, I didn't. So let's look at this, because I think clarity is one of the most misunderstood words we have and use, especially in business, but in private as well. In leadership, I'm sure you recognize it, and I want to talk about what it actually means and why most of us are walking around thinking we have it when we really, really don't. So when I was younger, I developed this identity around being direct, being the one who said what others wouldn't. And for a long time, I wore that like a badge. And how wrong I was. And it took me a really, really long time to see it. Being blunt is not the same as being clear. Bluntness can actually be a performance, and mine definitely was. It was a way to be seen, to have a label. She tells it like it is. That got me noticed. That got me validated. That gave me a role to play in any room I walked into. So why should I quit? It felt like clarity, but it was more like a costume. Real clarity isn't about how sharp your words are. It's about how honest you are with yourself before you ever open your mouth. And this is where it gets sticky. Because if you want to communicate with clarity, real clarity, you have to do the internal work first. There are no shortcuts. That means knowing your defaults, your patterns, your triggers. It means knowing not just your strengths, but your shadow sides. The parts of yourself you rather tape up in a box, show it to the back of your shelf, shove it to the back of your shelf and pretend it isn't there. And here's something I believe deeply. We are all 50-50. 50% light and 50% shadow. That's not a flaw. That's just being human. But the moment you decide to just only claim the positive half, you lose access to your authentic self. You're only showing people half of you, and people feel that gap, even if they can't name it. So the real work, is owning all of it. Not performing the positive, not hiding the negative, but actually integrating it. Looking at yourself fully and saying, yeah, that's me. All of it. Because when you do that, you stop communicating from a place of defense. You stop wrapping your words in cotton wool to protect yourself. You stop saying things in roundabout ways because you're afraid of how they'll land. You just speak from your truth. To say it as it is, this took me a lot longer to understand looking back, because knowing this intellectually, easy. Living it, that took years of actively rewiring myself. The thing I had to work hardest on was impatience. I am by nature fast. My brain moves fast, I make decisions fast, I want to do everything fast. And I used to let that impatience bleed into how I communicated. I would deliver something, a hard truth, a piece of feedback, a decision, and I deliver it quickly, cleanly, like ripping off a bandage. Done, efficient. And I would tell myself, that's clarity. I said it, I didn't dress it up, but what I was actually doing was using clarity as a cover for not wanting to sit in the discomfort of a conversation. Not wanting to slow down long enough to actually land with the other person. Real clarity, I had to learn. It's not just about what you say, it's about the energy you say it with. And if you're impatient, if there's this restless energy underneath your words, people pick up on it. They feel rushed. judged, like they're a task you're trying to get through. And that's not communication. That is just noise dressed up as honesty. Hard one, yes. So I had to rewire that. Actively, consciously, I started slowing down before hard conversations, checking in with myself. Am I clear on what I actually want to say? Am I coming from integrity or am I coming from frustration? Is this about them or is this about me wanting to be alone with something uncomfortable, done with something uncomfortable? And that practice, that pause changed, well, it changed everything for me. Not just how people received what I said, but how I felt after saying it. Because when you speak from a place of actual clarity and real integrity, you don't have this residue of doubt afterwards. You don't lie awake thinking, did I say the right thing? Should I have softened it maybe? You just know. That was true. That was clean. I can stand behind that. Here's something I want you to really sit with according to this. Clarity is not just about the words. It's a frequency. You can wrap a difficult message in the most careful diplomatic language in the world. You can soften every edge, choose every word, but if you're not aligned underneath it, if there's doubt, guilt, or resentment in your body, the other person will feel it. Might not be able to voice it, but will feel it. And the opposite is also true. You can say something direct, even blunt, and have it land with total warmth if you're generally coming from a place of integrity and care. That's what I mean by speaking from your truth. It's never about being harsh. It's about being real, and real when it comes from a grounded place people can receive and embrace it. This is exactly why clarity has to start at home, in your personal life, before it ever shows up in your professional one. Because you can't compartmentalize this. If you're vague and self-protective in your personal relationships, you will be vague and self-protective in your boardroom. If you've wrapped things up in cotton wool with the people closest to you, you will do it with your clients and your team. These things are not separate. They never were, and they never will be. And look, I want to say something that might sound a bit grand, but I mean it. I truly, truly mean it. This matters beyond you and me. Remember that. We're living through a time of enormous noise, global conflicts, economy instability, fractured trust between people, between institutions, and the root of so much of that friction is miscommunication. Is people saying things they don't mean, or not saying what they do mean, or speaking from fear or ego rather than from genuine truth? Misunderstanding at scale has consequences, real ones. So when I talk about clarity, yes, I'm talking about your next difficult conversation at work, your next hard talk with your partner or a friend. But I'm also talking about the broader skill of humans actually reaching each other. Use fewer words. Speak from your own perspective. Own what you're actually trying to say. And don't use someone else's as reasons for your message. Stay in the I. That's not weakness. That's precision. So what does real clarity feel like when you get there? It feels like integrity. Like you've done the inner work, said the true thing, and you can stand behind it. Not because it was comfortable, but because it was honest. It doesn't mean you'll never be misunderstood. You will for sure. That's part of being human. But when you speak from real clarity, from the grounded place of knowing yourself, Your positives, your shadows, all of it, something shifts. People trust you differently, not because you perform confidence, but because they can feel that you're not hiding anything. You're present. That's the thing about authenticity. You can't fake it and you can't shortcut it. You have to do the work. Observe yourself, catch your defaults, own the parts of that are inconvenient and you feel like, ooh. Stop performing, whether that's performing warmth, performing directness, performing certainty, and then just speak. I started this video by telling you I used to think clarity was bluntness. What it actually is, the real version, is this ongoing lifelong practice of knowing yourself well enough to speak your truth fully, without armor, without performance, without needing to protect yourself or land a certain way or be seen in a particular light. It's not a destination. It's something you keep practicing on and on. And it is, I genuinely believe, one of the most important things any of us can get better at. I talk a lot about myself, but this is about you too. If this resonated, drop something in the comment. I'd really love to know where you're at with this specific issue. So see you next week and have a great one.